Good morning, YouTube. This is WhackMed19. Today we're going to talk about the Peacekeeper gun DLCs and whether or not you can expect to see more of that in the future. The quickest and simplest answer is yes, you will see more gun DLC in the future. No, it will not be for Call of Duty Black Ops 2. It will be for Call of Duties in the future, and this is in response to the money that they've made off of this. Now, in previous interviews, the executives, specifically David Vonderhaar, has said that loading the guns into the game is one of the things that takes up the most amount of memory, because there are so many combinations of guns. There are so many things that you can, loadouts that you can do with your guns, the interactions, the way they're going to play against one another. And this is one of the reasons why you have a limited number of guns that you have and the limited number of things that you can do with them. It's also one of the things that makes the Pick-10 system revolutionary, and why the Pick-10 system worked to change quick draw to an attachment as opposed to a perk. Now, with the power of cloud gaming, you should, in theory, be able to put the guns in the cloud, and that would be something that you can keep in the cloud, thereby opening up a lot of the memory and the way that the computer or console works, so that it can concentrate on other things that right now it's spending its memory on concentrating on the guns and making the guns work the way they should, look the way they should. And if all of that is controlled by the cloud, then you're going to have a strategic advantage, or you're going to have a specific advantage in how much memory is available to do stuff with. Now, I'm not sure the interaction of how that's going to work. If the gun stuff is in the cloud, how is that going to work with the PlayStation 4, who at the moment doesn't have cloud, but Gaikai could come in the future and matter. But at the moment, the cloud isn't there for the PlayStation 4, and I'm wondering how much of a problem this is going to be when it comes to porting games back and forth and actually using what is accessible to the consoles, whenever there are vast differences such as cloud technology, whenever you get into the discussion of how the games are built. It's going to be interesting in the future to see if the PlayStation 4's hardware capabilities outweigh the cloud technology so much that they're going to keep up side by side. I don't think that they are, because the cloud can change. The cloud is technology that doesn't exist on your computer, that exists somewhere else, and the hardware is so super wonderful awesome that it does all kinds of stuff. It just doesn't send it back in real time. But if it's a storage device, I'm thinking that it does more things for you, more than your rendering capabilities of your local machine, that being the PlayStation 4. And I'm not trying to bag on either one. They both have advantages and disadvantages. But the point is, if the guns are in the cloud, that gives you a lot more capabilities as a designer to open up what else you can put into the game. And of course, the further those consoles go into their lives, the better the games are going to get anyway. Just as Black Ops 2 is better in so many aspects as far as the game build than Modern Warfare 2 or COD 4 or whatever games first came out with the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3. So, all that being said, the success of the Peacekeeper, the demand for more gun DLC is there. It is something that exists, and I think that you're going to see more of it. Now, one of the things that I'm worried about is that you're going to have a pay-to-win model, and that would be that you're given 5 or 6 guns, and if you watch 3-Bar Exploits, then this is a little bit of a rerun for you, but if you're given 5 or 6 guns to start out with, and then you have to buy new guns and buy more guns, then that's one way for Microsoft to make money. Maybe the game doesn't cost $60 or $70 in the future. It only costs $50. But each gun DLC where you get 3 guns or so, I'm making these numbers up off the top of my head, where you get 3 or 4 guns or so is a way for them to make additional money. So in the end, you wind up paying for all the DLC, you wind up paying for all the gun DLC, you wind up paying for all the camo and the microtransactions. And if look at this feed, if the guns come in microtransactions or in smaller transactions, then you can make a lot more money from as Microsoft. You can make a lot more money. I went ahead and fast forwarded this domination game to the second round, which is why we flipped right here. But can you make a lot more money? Do you want to buy new guns? Now, the argument was that the PDW was the most awesome gun in all of Call of Duty at the beginning of Black Ops 2. Since then, it has been nerfed so much that it's a competitive gun because of its clip size, but it's not the competitive gun. You don't see it. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen it in competitive play. Maybe you see it some in league play, but it's more of a pub stomping gun, and there are other guns that are just as good, if not better, than the PDW at this point. So if that's the gun that you were given right off the bat, you may no longer be happier with that gun. Also, when you get hosed, when you get hosed by this LMG that I'm using here, this is the MK48. If you're getting destroyed by an MK48 such as these kids, then that makes you as a person say, I think I would be better off if I had an MK48, because this game came and it gave me an LSAT whenever it began, and LSAT's a beautiful gun. It's actually my preferred gun, but it came with an LSAT, and I want the MK48 because this dude is just lighting us up with it. He's destroying everyone on my team, and so the connection, not the ability or the quality of the gun, but the actual connection that you have to the server, or bad connection to the server, is what's going to sell these guns, because it looks like the MK48 is the best gun in the game when I'm holding it in this game, and these kids have got to be thinking he's going off with this gun. Is it the gun or is it the connection? It's probably the connection. It's not the gun. I've been in other matches where the connection did not go my way, and it was not the gun that saved me or did not save me. In fact, from previous videos that I prefer a shotgun whenever the connection is not going my way, if at all possible. So you've got this gun's better than that gun. The other gun's better than the other gun. Well, if it's gun DLC, this is a huge problem. And one of the things that I don't like about this is it's pay to win. Because what happens whenever the new guns come out is immediately you're going to have, if new guns come out on a DLC, then immediately you're going to have people that complain because it feels like they have nerfed the guns that you have. They have toned them down and made them less worthy. Dueling sentry guns on opposite sides of the map is just brutal. Now I pull back here to hold the spawn. And so whether or not they actually nerf the guns when the DLC comes out, it's going to feel like it, because your human desire, your human want to, is that you want to have the best gun. And now these guys that you're playing against have the new gun, and whether it's the best gun or not doesn't really matter. It's immaterial. You don't know that. And from a technical perspective, you can't look at the specs and say this is the best gun. You can't look at the specs and say this is the worst gun. Now, if you look on paper, just on paper, the Vector is one of the worst guns in the game. The Chi-Com is one of the best guns in the game. And yet, how many people would argue that the Vector is a great gun? I love the Vector. But the Chi-Com's a terrible gun. I can't get this. Look, they just turn around. You can't see me on the map. The Chi-Com is a terrible gun. Why would you ever use the Chi-Com? Well, that's true, but on paper, this is what they represent. So you couldn't even tell by that. I'm afraid that you're going to see, or I'm glad that you're going to see more gun DLC in the future. I'm afraid that it'll go the way of the microtransaction, and that would be a negative thing. But let me know what you think. Do you want more gun DLC? I'm sure you do, but what kind and in what fashion? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks, and have a great day.